passing the arguments. Especially useful for bash scripting in Linux. Bash scripting would be just a list of commands that you would utilize, that you would be able to type in individually into the terminal anyway, but you type them in as a bulk and you use them for task automation, let's put it so. Anyway, here's a blunt example where redirection would be awesome, although not strictly speaking a redirection. I can just type, well, I suppose it is. I can type in who am I, and I can redirect it to a file which will be okay, in my home directory. So who am I, press enter and type in cat, oh come on, cat, who am I. There we go. So we have successfully obtained the username of the system. We have placed it into a file and now we can retrieve it. Okay, so what did we do here? You see this greater than sign. It's outputting whatever this is, it's redirecting whatever this is outputting from standard output to to a file whose path is the home directory of the current user. This is just how you would redirect the standard output, nothing else. So no error messages or anything of a kind. This is just the redirection of what the command would normally output, which is the username. What would this be useful for? Well, sometimes you cannot actually, let's say you're providing tech support or something of a kind, and I don't know, a user wants you to do something and you need their username to do it, but you can't genuinely ask them. Rather, instead, you're just giving them the command that they should run on their system. So you would be able to do something of a kind. Uh, let's let's take a blunt command. Let's type in cd, and I would type in home. And how would you know the username here? Well, simple enough, you would just type in the $sign bracket and who am I, close, press enter, and there we go. We have successfully changed the directory from root to random guy without even knowing the user name. So this is a bit of a general command, I would say. However, you can also go ahead and do this. Now echo who am I, and there no, sorry, we can just go ahead and cat this. There we go. So random guy, and we can pipe it to, I don't know, to pretty much whatever is needed out there. Like, let's say we cat the who am I, and then we're gonna go ahead and no, wait, not cat, but I'm gonna type in who am I. This is what I wanted to actually show you. Let's say that we now have the username there, and instead of who am I, we're gonna type in the command ID, and with ID we get some useful information about the user as well. In addition to the just the username, you get the group, the ID, and so on. What if you want to redirect this output to that same file? Well, if you did pretty much the same thing as we did before, we would overwrite the content of that file and it would be gone. So the username would be gone, but this information that we got from ID, from standard output, would go into that file. Allow me to demonstrate. So cat who am I. Okay, now in who am I we have a username random guy, and if we do this ID, and if we redirect this to who am I, again cat who am I, you can see that there isn't even a trace of what was there before. Now this is not a good thing generally. That's why we have, for the redirection of standard output, append function. Let's go ahead and type in one more time, who am I, and redirect it to the file, who am I, cat who am I, Excellent. So now we have overwritten the contents of the file once again, and this time we do not want to overwrite the contents of the file. Rather, instead, what we would like to do is append it. So go ahead and type in ID, and all that you need to do to append the contents of the file, not to delete it or anything of a kind or overwrite it, just type in double greater than sign. So greater than sign, redirect standard output, double greater than sign, redirect, not redirect, but rather instead, sure, redirect, but append. Do not overwrite. Redirect and append, not redirect and overwrite. Who am I? And if we do cat who am I now, there you go. You can see that the file has indeed been appended. We have random guy, it is still there, no problems, and we have the output from the ID command as well. It stands there without any problems. You won't be destroying the content. Usually a pretty good idea to use append, redirect and append as opposed to redirect and overwrite. Not very not very nice, I would say. Also, there is another approach to all of this. Aside from redirecting error messages and to a file or somewhere else, or redirecting the standard output to another command of one command to another command as input, it's fascinating to know that you are actually able to basically redirect the output to nowhere. If you do this, so cat who am I, and if I do this, if I type in dev null, press enter, this is going to go to nowhere. So gone, no problems. It's somewhere, well, obviously it has went somewhere, but if you redirect it to /dev/null, it's pretty much the equivalent of redirecting the output to nowhere. You might wonder yourselves, why do we want this? Why would you redirect the output to nowhere? Well, I'm going to show you some examples in the follow-up tutorial, but for the time being, just imagine that you are getting like 40 error messages from a command and only one message from standard output. So you would like just to see that message from standard output, or it could be vice versa. You could be getting a lot of standard output and just a few error messages. So you would want to be able to remove some of those things, and then you would either redirect standard output or standard error to null because you don't want it at that point of time, and you would only be able to see a certain type of messages. I will demonstrate this with plenty of examples in the follow-up tutorial. For the time being, I just wanted to introduce you to the concepts of redirection, as this is one of those subjects that is quite important, and it is one of those basic subjects, but what you learn with it, what you learn in this tutorial, trust me, you will use throughout your career as as a system administrator, or even as a regular Linux user. Anyway, I bid you all farewell until next tutorial. Hello everybody, and welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to go ahead and continue talking about input-output redirections. I have here a small text for you. So basically, if you want to redirect the standard error, you can do this. But what I want to show you here is that you can redirect standard error, type in an ampersand sign in between, and then 1, and this would redirect the standard error to standard output. There's another line at the bottom, which is basically a combination of the two, and then a third, which is a pipe. The point of this tutorial, what I'm telling you now, is that you can actually combine these redirections. So you can combine them in one single line and use them as filters as well. Let me just show you what I mean by that. I'm just gonna expand this one here. And for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm gonna take the output of the ps command, which will list the running processes. So, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, help me out here. ps ef, excellent. So this will give us a list of running processes on the system. There's also another neat command which you can type in. I'm not sure if the program is installed. It is. It's actually top. So you type in